I'm joined in studio by Harry. Harry, I wouldn't usually ask a guest this, but what age are you?
I'm 11.
11 years of age, and you've come up from Cork to join me in studio today because I loved your story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna describe you as, when I was kind of doing my bit of research on you and hearing about what you've been up to, I describe you not as the Wolf of Wall Street yet, but maybe the Cub of Wall Street. Is that a fair description? So tell me about your relationship with money.
Well, it all started on my 6th birthday, and I was curious, and my dad was just after coming back from work, and he said, I said to myself, I'm going to go and try and make money.
Like your dad?
Yeah. Like
Right.
my dad. And I waddled my way over to my neighbours and I said, by any chance, can I get 25% of a bullock?
So your neighbour's a farmer, I assume?
Yes, she is a farmer.
She's a farmer and you wanted a leg of a bullock?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted a leg of a bullock and I had to kind of, persuade her,
She wasn't convinced?
Not at the start because she didn't really feel that I had the potential and I wasn't ready yet. So she said, I got around her and she said, yeah, that's okay. And anyway, I agreed on I'd give her my €250 that I had from my birthday if she would give me 25% of a bullock.
Right.
And I would have to do work as well around the farm. So
what type of work did you have to do?
I had to fill in potholes. I had to bring in coal to her. I had to feed silage to the cattle with my dad. And I still do that to the day.
Right.
And anyway, I was happy out after getting my bullock. And I gave her the money and we chose a bullock.
Okay.
And over that year, I was constantly working. Like anytime I was bored, I would go straight over to her and I'd say, do you have any jobs for me to do?
Right.
And every time I did a job, we had a little chart and she'd pick a price for the jobs and she'd pay me, and she wouldn't pay me direct with cash, but she'd like knock off the money that I owed her from the bullock.
Right.
And so
you bought the quarter of the bullock for €250.
Yes.
And did you sell the bullock then a year later?
Yes,
And
I
what-
sold the bullock a year later.
How much did you get for the bullock?
I got €1,070. €1,070. Sorry.
So you only own 25% of it, did you? So,
Yes, she was so impressed with me that I had. She really thought I had potential, and she really thought I was able to take care of it. Because at the start, she was like, "You're so young, But anyway, she said, "Yeah, I think you're able to take care of him." So she gave me the full price for the bullock.
Oh, so you got the full bullock then?
The full price, yeah.
So you got the full 1,070?
The full 1,070, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So then next year...
And come here though, hold on a second, let me just work out the maths here, right?
Yep.
So if you paid 250 and it made just over €1,000 and you own 25%, you would have just broken even. How much was the full price of the bullock at the start?
At the start, the bullock she bought in, the price that she bought it in at was €600.
And how come she only gave you, why didn't you get more than 25% for your 250? You paid 250 quid. Did she rip you off there like?
Well, I kind of wanted to go low because she didn't, at the start, she wasn't really...
She needed to convince it.
She wasn't really convinced, and, I thought she'd be, I tried to get her in a good form.
Yeah.
So I went low.
Yeah.
But if I had my time over, I'd definitely go a bit higher because I learned my lesson.
But to be fair to her, and I'm joking when I say, was she ripping you off there? To be fair to her, it was her land.
It's her land.
It's her everything.
I'm not paying for the land.
Yeah.
But
yeah. You've done well. You've got your 250 quid. It's turned into 1,070. So what did you do then?
With the 1,070 then, what I did then was with that money, I said, by any chance, could I buy another bullock? And she said, absolutely. And anyway, I paid her the full price for the bullock.
Right.
Because I already had the money. So I did have to do some jobs. I still had to fill in a few potholes because I didn't have the full bullock paid off. And I said to her, with the money that I had the bullock, she said, "Do you want to?" I said, "Can I pay you off with the bullock that's sold?" She said, "No, I want jobs done," because she's an elderly lady.
Right.
And she kind of, she needs the coal constantly brought in. So still to this day, I'm still working for her. I'm not doing it for money. I'm just helping around in the farm.
She's your mate now.
Yeah, because if I stop, she's gonna.
So tell me, so you did the bullock, and now you've got a second one.
Yeah.
And you're moving on, and you've got a few things going on. How many do you have today?
I have 6 calves, a bullock, and a horse.
Okay, so you have a bullock, 6 calves, and a horse.
Yeah.
Okay, and are you making money off the horse?
No, the horse is only kind of for joy. It's
Okay.
I never really planned on making money with him. I just planned on riding him and having fun with him,
Right. And you love him, do you?
I love him.
What's his name?
Absolutely. Big J.
Big J.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you worth, Terry?
How much do I have now?
Yeah.
By the end of next year, I should have 7 grand.
7 grand.
Yeah.
So how does that break down? You've got some cash.
Yeah.
And you've got the 6 calves.
And
how much were the calves, by the way? How much is a calf?
A calf. When we bought them, they were selling for €200 a calf.
Okay. And when you sell them, how much do you get for them?
I should get €1,200.
So you make €1,000 per calf, and you have 6 of them.
Yeah, making incredible profit.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Don't let the farmers of Ireland hear you say that, Harry. There'd be trouble. They're poor. There's only poor farmers in Ireland. There's no such thing as a profitable farm. Be careful. So you're going to make it 6 grand off that.
Yeah.
After you've paid yourself back the money that you put in at the start.
Yeah, and from the money that I have now, so I should have a good bit. All right.
And then tell me what else you've done. A couple of other things. Tell me about the stones.
So during COVID time, I was around 8 at the time, and I was bored one day, and I said, "Mom, I want to raise money for the Irish injured jockeys."
Yeah.
And
why the Irish injured jockeys? Why did you pick them?
Because I've had always interest in horse racing and horses, because my dad and mum are big into the horses.
Okay.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to do it for myself. So we went down anyway, and we bought the stone. We got stones from the river.
Right.
And we painted them.
Where did you get the paint?
We went around to the neighbour's house and we got paint. We said, can we get nail polish off you?
And to all the neighbours, there's loads of different neighbours.
To loads of different neighbours, the ones that we knew they were sound like. Yeah.
Right, okay. So do you know what you're after doing there now, Harry? All the people on your street who didn't get knocked on the door, they know now they know no. You think they're not sound.
Oh, God. Well, at the start, most of them, we had loads, we got loads of paint. So anyway, what we did is we got them and we painted them. And we kind of wrote messages on them and just painted ladybugs and stuff. And then we got a whiteboard. And what we did with the whiteboard is we wrote down on it. We said honesty box. Put whatever amount of money you want to do. Whatever you can afford. Yeah. And
you said it was for the Irish injured.
Irish injured jockey. Yeah. And yeah.
And you came down one Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Saturday morning, was it? So it's possible someone was out the night before. And what was inside the box?
And no stones gone, because I counted that night before, and there's €50 in the box.
€50. And how much did you raise for the jockey fund there?
I raised €75 for the Irish injured jockeys.
Excellent. And what about the waffles?
The waffles. So in one of my schools, in one of my old schools, I said to myself, do you know what? I could make even more money, because the bullocks are, and I'm getting money every year. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna try and make money, constantly,
Okay.
So
sorry. So what you recognised was the problem, the fact that the bullocks, you put money into them and it takes a long time to get the money back out.
Yeah.
So now what you were saying was, let's try and make some money every day.
Yeah.
Or more regularly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So I went into Lidl and I bought a waffle machine and I bought pancake mix and all my toppings. And then I went into school the next day with a whole menu. And I said, you've loads of options, whatever flavour you want. That was all perfect.
Yeah.
And
Did you make a few quid off that?
yeah, I made like €85.
Wow.
Yeah, in the space of 2 months. Yeah.
So you have the money now and you've got a few grand, right? And if you think about it, you've got $7,000 now and you've got you've $7,000 worth of assets at the moment because you have to wait for the calves to be sold.
Yeah.
What's the next step for you? Where do you think you're going to go next?
I was I was trying to ask you what you think is a good way for me to invest money to make it, so I have money for college, money for my first car, stuff like that, so I can actually make money. So when I'm older,
you get a head start.
Yeah. So
there's a guy called Warren Buffett, right? Now Warren Buffett is, I think he's 96 or 97 now, right?
Yeah.
And he's an American guy, and he's worth over $100 billion. Right?
Wow.
He's one of the richest men in the world. And you know what you have over him? He started to invest when he was 13.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you're 11. He started when he was 13. And by the time he got to 50, right? If you think about what he's worth today compared to what he was worth at 50. Now, he's 96, 97, 98, right? But 99% of the wealth that he has today, he's made since he was 50.
Wow.
Okay? So what I would say, so if you think about it, if it's around the 100 billion, he was only worth 1 billion at 50 years of age and he's worth 100 billion today. Okay?
Wow.
Because do you know what Warren Buffett had? Time.
Time, yeah.
Okay? The most powerful thing in the world when it comes to finances is compound interest. Do you ever hear of compound interest before?
No, I haven't.
So compound interest is where, let's say you have €100 in the bank, right? And the bank says to you, know what I'm going to do? We'll give you, because you've given us your €100, and I'm going to make the numbers up here, right? They'll say, I'll give you €1 if you leave it here for a year. I'm going to give you 1% interest, right? Yeah. And what they do is they take your money, they stick it into the bank, they pay you 1% interest on it. And the reason why they're able to pay you 1% is because I walk into the bank and I want to borrow €100. So I want a loan. So you've given them the cash, they give me a loan of your money and they charge me 10%. Okay, so they're charging me €10 a year in interest in simple terms, and they're paying you €1 a year in interest, and they're pocketing the 9, the difference between the two, right? Yeah. So when you give money to a bank, they usually pay you interest. In most accounts, they'll pay you interest, or provided it's not a day-to-day account, right? Yeah. So you put the money into the bank, and let's say today you have €100 in it, and let's say at the end of the year they give you €1 in interest. So now you've got 101. Okay.
Yeah.
Next year, you're getting 1% of 101, not 100. Okay.
Yeah. So it's constantly growing.
It's constantly growing. And what compound interest means is you're getting interest on your interest, and it starts to multiply up. And the longer you can leave it there, the more interest you're getting on your interest. Okay. Yeah. And the really great thing is, and what I'd call sometimes, Harry, not sometimes, what we call with customers or clients, we call financial independence, right? So financial independence is the day, everyone has the day in their life, right, where they're going to reach what's called financial independence. And financial independence is simply the day that you have enough money that you never have to work again and you never have to worry about money, okay? And what you have to your advantage is, because you're starting so early, you could potentially get there much quicker than a lot of other people, because you right now, you're lucky and your mum is here today with you, right? And your mum minds you, she feeds you. What did you have this morning that you're not usually allowed to have?
Cocoa Pops.
You had Cocoa Pops this morning. We put you in a hotel last night and you went down and you found the Cocoa Pops this morning. Mum let you off.
Yeah.
So, but your mum feeds you, she looks after you. So you can take all that money and you can put it into things. And you know what you need to do? You need to find what's right for you. And at the moment, like, you've got your horse, and the horse is pure joy, right? Yes. It's not money, right? No. That's not a money-making thing. That's pure joy. You've checked that, you've tried out the bullock, and you've been working away with that, and that's worked out for you. And now you're moving into calves, and these are things that you can see and you can touch and you can go over and mind and look after. And what I would say is when these things feel right to you, do them, okay? Because what you know, you'll be able to make a few quid off, right?
Yeah.
But what you also need to do is you need to start spreading it out a bit, right? And what I mean by that is do you ever hear, did anyone ever say to you, don't have all your eggs in one basket?
Yes.
Yes. So what I mean by that is absolutely keep going with the calves, keep going with the bullock, keep going into other things like your stones and your waffles and your whatever else you're doing. Do all those things and try all those things. But what you need to do is you need to start taking some of the profit and putting it to one side. And I know you're 11, but you've got a different head on your shoulders than some other 11-year-olds I've met, right?
Yeah.
And what I would say is the best thing you could do for yourself. And, you know, I'll give you a hand with it. And me and your mum and I, we'll all work it out for you, right? But the best thing you could do is buy tiny, tiny bits of thousands of companies.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about, I saw a brilliant thing the other day. Do you have a phone now?
Yes, I do.
What type of phone do you have?
I've an iPhone.
You have an iPhone.
Yeah.
I saw maths the other day, which blew my mind, right? So you can actually buy a little bit of Apple, or you can own a piece of Apple. Now, when you think about how much Apple is worth, it's worth trillions. Like it's worth massive. And you could actually take 50 quid and buy 50 quid worth of Apple, and you'd own a tiny, tiny bit of Apple. But there was a thing I heard the other day where, and I haven't checked the maths, right? But it was a reliable source. And what someone had gone and done is they had taken every time a new iPhone was released, right? If you took how much the iPhone cost, and instead of buying the iPhone, if you bought a tiny bit of Apple shares instead with the same money. So say the new iPhone is €1,000, right?
Yep.
I think the first iPhone was launched in 2008. The first iPhone was €1,000. Instead of spending €1,000 buying the phone, you took €1,000 and you bought Apple shares, right? So you owned a tiny bit of it. And every time a new phone was released, instead of buying the phone, you bought Apple shares. Do you know how much it'd be worth today?
Gosh.
22 million.
The shares.
The shares would be worth 22 million if you didn't buy the phone and you bought the shares instead.
Wow.
Right? Now, Apple is a mad story, and it's been huge
Absolutely.
over the last few years, and it's been a big
Absolutely.
success story.
Yeah.
And what I would say is that when you comes the right way to actually make your money make money for you is don't go looking for the Apple, right? Buy the Apple, buy the Disney, buy everything, right? Because when you buy everything, if you buy like, and when I'm doing this, and you and I, if you want to do it afterwards, you and I will do it together. When we're doing this, right, you'll end up with like tiny, tiny bit of about somewhere between 10 and 15,000 different companies.
Yeah.
And these are the best companies in the world. But what you're guaranteed when you buy everything, instead of trying to find the one, when you buy everything, what you're promising yourself there now is you're promising yourself that next year I'm going to have the best ones, but I'm also going to have the worst ones, and I'm going to have everything in between. And you're taking all the guesswork out of it, right? And by you doing that, and by you taking some of your money now leaving yourself with enough to go and buy another calf next year if you want to do it, and taking some of the profit and doing something else. But by you going and doing that now, and buying the best in the world and sitting on them and investing and forgetting is what we always talk about. Yeah, investing for it. You take it, you leave it there. You have so much time on your hands, that you have so much future on you, that you can just leave it there. Do you know what's going to happen? Every couple of years, it's going to fall apart and it's going to go down.
Yeah.
And you're going to leave it alone. You're just going to leave it sitting there because you don't need to take it out then. Okay? So you have time on your side, and the difference it'll make over a long period of time, if it's set up right at the start, will be eventually you will get to a point, if you keep adding more money to it, you keep doing it, eventually you get to a point where the interest that you're getting off it will be able to pay for your calf, will be able to pay for your Cocoa Pops, will be able to pay for whatever else you want to pay for.
Absolutely.
And that's the point you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
What do you want to do when you grow up, Harry?
Well, I'd like to be a pilot.
Right, okay.
Pilot.
There's a good school down in Cork. You're from Moy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a good school down there to train the pilots, isn't there?
Yeah.
Is that near you? Do you know it?
I've heard of it, yes. Not an ordinary pilot.
Of course, you're not going to be an ordinary pilot. What type of pilot do you want to be?
Fighter pilot.
Fighter pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. Right,
Yeah.
okay. So you want to go into the Air Corps?
Yeah, Air Force, yeah.
Okay. Wow. And have you ever been up in a plane?
No, never once.
Have you never flown at all?
No.
Wow.
Never once. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you want to be a pilot, and what do you think you might do in your spare time then? When you grow up?
Why I actually chose pilot is when you reach the age of 55, you have to retire no matter what. So after 55, I will go into farming.
Go into farming then?
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully what my plan is, the pilot gets incredible wages, the pilot fee, the income, that will help support the farm, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're an interesting guy, Harry.
Yeah.
You know what? You strike me as the type of guy that I think will appear in front of us again in the future. You've never done anything like this before, so you haven't?
Never once.
So I'm going to claim you. When in 15 years' time, when you're making millions or you're saving the world in your fighter pilot, right? I bet you this will be the clip that they go back to say, that's the first time we saw Harry or the world heard about Harry. But you're an absolute gentleman.
Thank you.
And I'm very impressed. You know what you're doing that a lot of people your age aren't doing?
No.
You're thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Okay? And opportunities will come across. You'll come across opportunities all the time, Harry, and all you need to do is test them out.
Yeah.
But just be careful. Like, you've got $7,000 at the moment in assets, right?
Yeah.
What I mean, between the animals and the cash you have about $7,000. When you're testing something out, just test the waters a little bit. The same way you did already. You tried a quarter of a cow, and then you bought a full cow. And now you've got a couple of calves, and you're building up slowly, and you're testing it to see, does this work or doesn't it work? And Warren Buffett, we're going to finish with Warren Buffett and a quote from Warren Buffett, because I think it's brilliant, and I think it's something that you could put in your back pocket, and if you can remember, it'll make a big difference. There was a journalist asked Warren Buffett one day, said, Warren, you're one of the richest men in the world, but we can actually see how you did it. Like, we can see the companies you bought. We can see the shares that you bought. We can see how you did. There's literally what they call a playbook there. Why doesn't everyone just copy you? And what he said was, nobody wants to get rich slow anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Get rich slow, Harry. That's the key. Try and get rich fast. And you take your $7,000 and put it onto the wrong thing. It's going to blow up on you, and you have to start all over again. Yeah. You have an amazing foundation, and all you need to do now is just remember that. Yeah. I'm happy to get rich slow. Get rich slow, you'll keep it. Get rich fast, you'll lose it.
Yeah, 100%.
Any questions?
Well, really, what I came here for was to talk to you, and I was actually wondering what's the best way to invest my money and the best way to make profit when I'm older. I'm just as you said, I'm not in too much of a rush to get the money back in 5 or 6 years. I'd like to, keep it wherever you think, and try and make as much money as possible as I can.
Well, Harry, what we're going to do is me and you and your mom are going to set you up with an investment account, one that's suitable to you, right? And you, within a couple of weeks, we'll have this thing set up, and you are going to own a tiny bit of thousands of companies.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. And the difference that makes is, and we'll mix in some other stuff in there just to dilute some of the risk, is what we call it, just to make sure we're not taking too much risk for you, right? And we'll take some guidance from your mom as well. But you're gonna own, and literally, you think of any big company you can think of, from Monster to Coca-Cola to Disney to GE to all the big companies in the world, and you're going to own a bit of them. And that means when they're doing well, you're doing well. When they're doing bad, you're doing bad. But over time, by buying them all, you're exposed to the good ones, the bad ones, and everything in between.
Absolutely.
Okay? And we're going to set that up for you, and we're going to sort it out.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're a gent. You're one to watch.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see it. And you know what you might do? You might check in with us again at some stage in the future, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're a gentleman. Thank you very much for coming in today.
No problem.
Thank you.